Back from the All-Star break with a big game against the Atlanta Hawks and Jalen Johnson. Sixers, no Joel Embiid. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers Pregame Show, live from the Xfinity Studio, along with Derek. I'm Devon. Bree, of course, the president of basketball operations, and all of you hanging out with us here in the chat. We thank you for hanging out with us in general over the last 5 days where we have had no games, 3 p.m. shows. Great to be back with you. Of course, hope you were with us then and back with us now. 28 games remaining and a big stretch here for the Sixers, coming in with a 30-24 record. 28 games left on the schedule. How will it all play out? Well, it begins with the Atlanta Hawks tonight. We are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll get to our pregame picks a little bit later. We'll also just simply talk about how they need to. Do you realize that they have lost to the Atlanta Hawks 7 times, everybody? 7 in a row? Do you realize that? Well, they have. And that is the 2 that they lost at the beginning of this season. Of course, high-scoring basketball games.
Last year was a lot of nonsense basketball, so I guess that makes sense.
7 in a row they've lost to the Hawks. Can they snap their skid against the Hawks tonight?
You throw in a playoff collapse, and this is the most mediocre-ass team that's terrorized the team in a long time.
It is unbelievable, and we'll talk about the Bona Drummond rotation there, the 2-man center minutes, how it would all play out, how would they fare against the Atlanta Hawks and Edgecombe and their front court. But we have to start off, Derek, as we will get into Kyle's report from the pregame visit after the first break, but we got to talk about Joel Embiid and the fact that he is missing now his 3rd consecutive game as they begin their second half of the season. Big bummer, especially with us at practice yesterday, seeing him there, but Nick Nurse saying, I don't know. He has to get checked out by the doctors.
He doesn't know. No, and this is a new one. This is a shin soreness.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're not concerned about it. Sounds like he should be on the court soon. Obviously we've heard that before and it's not always gone according to plan. This isn't like a ligament though. Like this isn't one that I worry about quite as much as some of the other ailments that Joel has, but it is one that you want to be a little cautious on. It's going to be tough to play on a shin that is sore like that. Hopefully this is a 1-game, detour and then we're back on track. We both had some pretty optimistic predictions in our second half predictions show the other day on Joel Embiid's availability going forward. We thought he would play, 21 and 22 games respectively between us.
Yep.
That's 5 back-to-backs. Here's a 6th. That's it. You got no more games he can miss.
That's at 22. I'm done.
You have used your allotment. I got 1 more game of wiggle room. So we were both optimistic. Hopefully this is a brief detour and he is back on track.
Yep. Well, listen, first things first. He misses tonight. He's going to miss 1 of 2 this weekend because there's a back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. So he will miss 2 of the next 3 games, and that is huge because, to your point, though, as we look at things with the fact that he is dealing with the shin, that can just be painful, though. We don't know how it happened. He could have gotten kicked in the shin, and it just lingered, and it doesn't go away. You can ice it. You can rest it like he has over the All-Star break. But it can be a painful thing to have to deal with when you push off to run and he's physical on the low block. He's banging with these guys on the low block. You're setting screens. Guys run into your leg a little bit. All those things can be annoying, uncomfortable, and painful for Joel Embiid. So that's where it's a little bit frustrating after getting the update from Nick Nurse on Wednesday with his big man. So with it, that leads to, before we get to the big men, we'll talk about them in the second segment, but that leads to where Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, they really have to come through here in a big way to start off against the Hawks.
Yeah, and look, obviously we've been talking a lot over the last couple of weeks about Maxey and the fact that he's not hitting the 3-ball like he was earlier in the season, but that is equally, if not more so true of VJ. And these last 2 games that they missed, didn't have Joel in, look, their defense was an abomination. They probably weren't winning any of those games anyway with how badly they were defending. But you were hoping to get a little more aggressive, a little more assertive, a little more effective, quite frankly, version of VJ than you did get in those 2 games. So hopefully with the time off, obviously He played in the rookie soft game or whatever they call it nowadays.
Rising Stars.
Rising Stars, sure.
Rising Stars.
He went back to the Bahamas for a couple of days to see friends and family. So it's not like he was just sitting down the entire week and a half, week plus that he had off. But look, no one's going to sit here and pretend that the Rising Stars game is the kind of workload he is used to. It's not like you're doing much in the off days anyway, at least on a basketball court. Hopefully he's got some more fresh legs because they're going to need every bit of a big game from him in this one.
So I want to stick with him first because he is a big part of this second half where we saw him running with Tyrese Maxey plenty in the first half of the season where they put up 50-plus combined and helped to keep the Sixers either in games or win those games. And after his performance at All-Star Weekend in that Rising Stars game on Friday night, we saw him empowered again, where he had the ball in his hands. Vince Carter left him out there for every minute of those 2 games that he played for the Rising Stars Vince team. And with it, you saw the VJ Edgecombe that they're going to need.
Yeah. No, and I really try not to read too much from that game or that environment as Devon dies over here and we go to a solo cam. Good job, Bree.
As you told everybody.
Look, she's going to do a great job, and I'm going to spoil it. That's just the relationship we have on this show. No, look, he is, I don't want to read too much from that game, but it was great to see him be aggressive, to go out there, know that he is, sort of like that top dog, as apparently I'm going to die now.
He caught it.
That he's going to, just being aggressive, because I do think, he had taken a lot of shots the previous couple of games, especially with Joel out. They weren't always great shots, though. They were settling a little bit. He can get to his spots. He knows he can get to his spots. Having an environment like that, even if you don't want to read too much from those performances, because in these games, the Hawks will actually care about playing defense, and that tends to have an impact on your ability to convert. But just getting in there, getting that confidence back, getting a little bit of that swagger back, and succeeding. And look, he had a great game in that rookie soft game. Rising Stars game. I apologize, Mr. Silver. Although it sounds like you have a little bigger issues on your hands right now, maybe focus on that.
He's got a lot of
issues on his hands. So, look, I think it's good just to get that kind of confidence back, see the ball go in the basket, really take over a game like he was earlier in the season, and hopefully that translates here in the second
Here's
half.
where I will say that it matters a little bit to me, because when we would say, hey, you know what, Jarrett McCain needs to be sent down to the G League. Why? So he can see the basketball go through the hoop. So he can.
Yeah, it didn't really work though.
It didn't work for him.
Too, yeah.
It didn't work for him. So
I'm not saying it didn't work because your theory isn't right. It's just the ball wasn't going through the hoop in the G League too for him.
But it worked for VJ Edgecombe, where we said he needed a break. He said he got the break after the game on Friday night, but he needed the break. But we also needed to see, and we didn't know if he was going to really go for the MVP. But as the game kept playing out, he was doing the things that we saw him do once again at the beginning of the season, having us go back and think about what he did to Utah in the Utah Summer League, and then a few games there in Las Vegas where he performed really well with the ball in his hands, and he clearly felt like he was the best on the floor. Now, was he the best on the floor overall in that Rising Stars game? Not necessarily. He played the best, though, and the mentality that he had out there, he thought he was the best. So with him seeing that stuff happen and seeing that stuff take place, coming back, getting a few good practices in as well, I'd imagine that will give him that aggressiveness, that confidence to take those same type of shots, to dribble the basketball the same type of way, even though the competition is different. I understand that. He saw what he saw in needing the basketball to go through the hoop to give him that mental confidence of, you know what, I was tired, but I still did it, and I got it done. So with that break, with those few days off, while he got 3, as he pointed out in his media availability after practice, he still got a few, and that was just needed for VJ Edgecombe. So that's why I would start with him when it comes to what he is able to do tonight against the Atlanta Hawks, because, look, they have some really good, lengthy defenders. Dyson Daniels is going to be on Tyrese Maxey, but sometimes he's going to switch over to VJ Edgecombe. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a nice two-way guard for the Atlanta Hawks, but he can take advantage of potentially a player like CJ McCollum coming off the bench and some of their other guard rotation guys that they have coming off the bench and trying to exploit them offensively for what he does. And we know that active hands on the defensive end leads to some breakout opportunities for him. And one of the players that I am curious to see outside of Quentin Grimes that we talked about, we discussed Campaign a lot. If Campaign is out there with VJ Edgecombe a lot, I wonder how much he's able to set him up for some things as a young player, playing with a veteran point guard who is able to get him into his spots, coming around curls, maybe some of those bounce passes. We talk about lobs to Adem Bona. How about some lobs baseline maybe potentially to VJ Edgecombe, where we've seen some of the others maybe not connect with him on those? Maxey has done a pretty good job of those, but and maybe a better passer in Campaign who knows how to set guys up for those lobs and those opportunities. So I'm very curious to see about that. We'll talk about Tyrese Maxey a little bit after, along with the big men. Who's starting at the 5 tonight? Is it Drummond? Is it Bona? Which one? We'll talk about their minutes tonight against the Atlanta Hawks and Onyeka Okongwu and that Hawks front court. It's the PHLY Sixers podcast. It's the pregame. We're back from the All-Star break. Big game against the Hawks. We're breaking it down right here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show. And we are presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Hey, $5, you can turn that into $200. Yes, if you're one of the 90 million users worldwide like we are, you're not eligible for this, but for the ones who want to sign up and become a part of the 90 million users worldwide, you can do so right now as a new customer, getting $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. All you have to do is deposit $10. Place a bet for $5, and you get $200 in bonus bets right there credited to your account at Bet365. Big slate in the professional basketball ranks tonight as everybody is coming back from the break. This is a big schedule, so you get a 50% profit boost at Bet365 right now. And look, those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll give you our picks a little bit later, but if you want to jump in, you must be 21 plus, physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And guys, you ever have one of those days where you're moving nonstop and you suddenly realize, whoops, I forgot to eat? Yeah, it happens every now and then. That's why I've been loving what Wawa is doing right now. Wawa now has $5 deals all day. And honestly, it just makes life so much easier. If you're starting early, you can grab the $5 big breakfast meal deal. We're talking a sizzly, hash brown, and any size hot or iced coffee. That's a full morning win for $5, available from 5 to 11 a.m. Then later in the day, the value keeps rolling with a roasted chicken sandwich or crispy chicken sandwich created your way starting at $5. And they've even got new teriyaki recipes for a limited time. It's real food, real value, and built for busy days. No planning, no overthinking. Just swing in, grab what you need, and keep it moving. Start your day strong or fuel up whenever you need with Wawa's $5 deals. Limited time, exclusions apply. See Wawa.com for details. Gotta have a Wawa.
Back here on the PHLY Sixers pregame, Derek, Devon, Bree. We're going to check in with Kyle here shortly. Everybody in the chat, welcome back. Started the second half of the season. By the way, MBD said he's starting at center tonight for the Sixers. Go get buckets.
I mean, I might take you over the option that they're going with. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Go get buckets. By the way, since Derek, we like to talk about ducking the tax and all, and you got the sound drop and Bree has the sound drop, we thought we would add a new wrinkle. It's been in the background of our props here on the set in our other studio, in this studio.
We're so ridiculous.
So I got to bring back the duck. You remember this duck? Everybody? Remember the Iverson duck? Remember the duck, everybody? Remember? We had to dust them off from 2014. It's the retirement ceremony. AI duck. You remember this one?
I do, yes.
And the Sixers were kind enough to send us a few before the season. So shout out to
They did not realize it was going to be used for this purpose.
They did not, but it is ducking the tax, and we can't go get the yellow rubber ducky that floats in the tax. Sure. We got to get the AI duck that is remainder of the season, part of the show on the duck. There you go. Jay the Jungle, yes, remember the duck. The AI duck.
I will never forget that press conference because I remember him coming in and for some reason he started talking about lifting weights. He's like, I never really lift weights when I played. And he paused and he goes, because that shit was too heavy. It's like, yes, Alan, that's the whole point of lifting weights, but you delivered it in a way that only you could.
It was fun too because remember we were sitting we were sitting in the stands behind the basket basically, and the banner was right there. Yeah. It's a huge banner, but yes, this was from the retirement ceremony week, March 1st, by the way, 2014, for the AI.
I completely forgot
Allen
about the AI
Iverson,
duck.
Sixers
That's
forever,
crazy.
the duck. So we have those. Still have a couple actually here in the studio that we have.
Okay.
Made sure Bree had one because
I thought you had gotten this, like you still had yours from 11 years ago.
I
was
do.
like,
I gave Bree one. Yeah. And then they sent some. So we're good. Yes, absolutely. So they ducked the tax. Everybody, there you go. AI is with us for the rest of the year. Maybe this is a good luck charm for the remainder of the season for the final 28 heading into the playoffs. So, all right, before we get to the big men, let's find out a little more about the game from Kyle Neubeck live from the arena with his normal pregame hit. He's been on hiatus because we've been on All-Star break. He's back in the arena.
Is anybody actually looking for information on Sixers talks? Because it really doesn't feel like it. Joel Embiid out again tonight after missing the final 2 games heading into the All-Star break. A new designation this time. He's out with shin soreness. Nick Nurse talked about it for the game. Asked if this is going to be a lingering concern, something that keeps him out for any period of time. And in classic Nick Nurse and Sixers fashion, it's a big we'll see.
Don't listen. He's the doctors don't want him playing tonight. I think the plan is to get him on the court tomorrow and see how he looks tomorrow. And I think we just go from there. And I don't anticipate it being a long time. I'm pretty optimistic about it, but just see what they come up with and see where it ends up tomorrow. Yeah.
It did sound like over the All-Star break, Joel Embiid's knee improved to the point that if it were just about the knee, he would have been on the floor today. Nick Nurse did speculate, was asked a specific question, if this is a playoff game, do you think Joel would play? He said he thinks so, but it's a lot of vagueness, a lot of uncertainty, and so that's where we're at with Joel Embiid. A different storyline coming out of the break. Will Quentin Grimes get going again? He's had a tough go of it for a while here after a really great start to the season. And Nick Nurse, Tyrese Maxey, the whole gang, they're looking on him to be aggressive, to help make up for the offensive absence of Joel Embiid and Paul George, and get back to the guy who was killing teams early this season.
It's a difficult one too, I think, because he can get them off anytime he wants. You know, he can get them guarded, and he's actually really good at those. So kind of getting him situations where, hey, we're gonna get you the ball and we need you to shake your guy down and shoot the ball here just because we need some 3-point productivity out of you hasn't come very easily. He's got more of them in random stuff that's happening. But we're just going to continue to encourage him to be aggressive.
Sixers record without Joel Embiid in recent weeks has not been good. They got to turn it around here tonight against Atlanta.
That's Kyle Neubeck joining us live from the arena. Bree, are we on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line with Kyle there? Why not? Kyle's on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line from the arena.
Do pre-records count as a mobile line? Sure.
Right now it does.
Sure.
Yes, it does. So,
all right.
What are your takeaways from that, especially with Nick saying, I don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. I would like I said, the fact that it sounds like the knee has healed, or at least is in a better spot, and it's only a shin. Shins can linger. Should only be temporary. Like, we're not talking about a ligament. They can linger. I'll take them at they have never hidden the severity of a shin problem from us, so I will take them at their word on this specific injury.
Okay. All right. Deal. With that.
Now, they've never had a shin problem before, but we'll take them at their word.
I have, and it hurts for sure. All right. So with all of that, everyone, the starters for tonight, who gets the nod at the 5 for the Sixers with Joel Embiid out. Bree, if you got the starters, let's just run with those right now because, of course, we know that it is Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe along with Kelly Oubre, Dominic Barlow. Andre Drummond gets the nod out of the break instead of Adem Bona. Derek, your thoughts on that? Why lean Drummond over Bona against Onyeka Okongwu, who's going to pull you away from the basket and shoot threes as well?
Yeah, Okongwu over his last 10 games, shooting 5.5 threes per game at an almost 49% clip. I have no idea.
Bet365, everybody. Just saying.
Was that part of your pregame picks?
No, actually, it's not.
Okay.
I did that in the last Hawks game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess he's just trying Drummond because Bona hasn't been playing well, but Drummond hasn't been playing. I have no idea.
But you have to go somewhere.
You do have to pick one of the two. None of them are great options. I do think stylistically this is more of a Bona matchup than a Drummond matchup.
I do.
And I just don't think Drummond's been good. Like, at least Bona will give you an occasional flash. Like, he'll make an occasional good play. It's been a while since Drummond's been reliable in any regard, so I no idea.
Here's my thinking.
Okay.
Bona's better coming off the bench. And Drummond is probably better as a starter, so you give them, you put those two in those roles, and when you get those flashes from Bona, it has typically been in those reserve roles for him. So that's where I am going.
Yeah, but like maybe Drummond's been better as a starter than a backup, but he hasn't been good at any role.
No, he has not.
I don't
no,
know.
he has not. But maybe coming off the break too, he knows how to handle the break. He comes off the break. He's a little bit fresh coming back. As we talk about everyone else, why not him in the same role? So that's where I am going, and he has some rebounding help from Barlow in the front court, and we'll see how that plays out.
Get well soon, Joe. That's all I got.
Without question.
Get well soon.
But he's also only going to play one game this weekend.
Yeah.
And we don't know which one of those two. Maybe it's against Minnesota on the second night. Maybe it's the sure thing against the New Orleans Pelicans on Saturday night. I don't know. But that's my theory as to why he went with Drummond over Bona for the starting role. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Tyrese Maxey. He's the guy. We know. He's the driving force. He sounded like, even though he played in the All-Star game and the three-point shootout, he also said, by the way, everybody, that he did not practice really for the three-point shootout. He just wanted to go out there and wing it.
Yeah, that was a mistake. If you didn't, we had an interview with Tim Legler, and Tim Legler won three-point contest a little while. What was it, 94, 96?
94, and then he went to defend his crown in 95, did not win. Yeah.
So he won in 94.
And he also won in the CBA.
So he's got some experience with this. And we asked him, we're like, did you specifically train to shoot off the rack and shoot in that competition? He's like, oh, yeah. It was a big deal, big change. Not today's big deal, but a big deal back in 1994. I think Tyrese pretty much said it. He's like, look, if I do this again, I'm going to prepare for it and train for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he didn't have a great showing. What do you have, 17 points, I think? Didn't make the first cut.
17. But, yeah.
It doesn't matter. But if he does it again, then I would expect he will train for it, yeah.
Yep. So, all right. But for him, though, he did say get a little bit of rest. Feels pretty good coming back. And it's still his team tonight because no Joel Embiid, no Paul George. It's he, Oubre, and Edgecombe. But they need him to be Tyrese Maxey again. He has played and scored 30 in these last couple of games, but they need the 30 where they win.
Yeah, and look, and it's been outside of the fact that he hasn't been shooting the ball, although he shot the ball decently there in that last game against the Knicks, at least made a couple of them. Even though he hasn't been shooting great from the perimeter, he's been pretty efficient inside the arc, so that's good to see. It's really the defense that has completely destroyed them, and that's not all on Tyrese. That's not even primarily on Tyrese. Like I said, we focus a lot on the shooting. He hasn't been bad offensively for the most part. He had that big 13-assist game, against the Lakers. He had a couple of big, 29, 30, 32 points over the last three. So even without that outside shot, he's still been finding ways to score. They just need to dial it up defensively. But look, with Joe and PG out, he's going to see a lot of defensive attention. This is a Hawks team that's has pretty good positional size, and they can cover some ground defensively. So he is going to have to be really quick with some of his passes. Like, he has to be aggressive in when they send help. He's got to find the right pass and find the teammate to make them pay. And then teammates got to hold up their end of the bargain. And that's role players. You got to get a lot more cutting off ball from someone like Barlow. Kelly's got to make his shots and make smart plays.
Yeah.
VJ's got to be more aggressive. The best way to get Tyrese going right now is your role players have to step up and be real threats on offense, because they are going to send two to Tyrese at almost every chance they get. If that happens, you've got to make them pay as your role players. Here's
that lengthy starting five that Tyrese Maxey will see for the Hawks. It's Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Dyson Daniels in the backcourt, along with Zachary Richache, Jalen Johnson, and Onyeka Okongwu as the starting five for the Atlanta Hawks, who have won 7 in a row against the Philadelphia 76ers. Still unbelievable to Derek when I sprung that one on him to let him know how it has played out. November 30th this year, overtime game, if you all remember. Jalen Johnson was fantastic in that game on that one, where I think he ended up with a triple-double in that game. Tyrese Maxey was also pretty good with 44, that double overtime game. They finished with a 142-134 score. On December 14th, Atlanta won a three-point game, 120-117, and Paul George gave the Sixers 35 points, if you all remember, including those 7 made three-pointers, but not enough in the end. as the Sixers fell for the second consecutive time this season. They have 2 more games tonight and March 7th. Philadelphia here, Atlanta, March 7th. And they have again lost 7 games in a row to the Atlanta Hawks. They have to somehow find a way to end that skid. This is a team that, as you point out, is lengthy. They can score, they can rebound, they can defend. But the Sixers do hang with them. They just both give up a lot of points to each other. The Sixers, unfortunately, don't come out on top. By the way, last year in their 3 meetings, they were in March and April, March 10th, March 23rd, and April 11th.
Yeah, Sixers weren't winning anything at that time of year.
And they gave up a lot of points then. 132 in the first 2 games and 124 in that final game on April 11th. So they give up a lot of points to the Atlanta Hawks for some reason.
Yeah, and obviously you're without Paul George, one of your more consistent and more versatile defenders, and without Joel Embiid, who still, despite his limitations, is your best defensive center. And look, that's in part because Bona is out of position so much. That's in part because Drummond cannot move. But he is still he's a much more stabilizing force on offense. Like, you take a real huge step back when he is not there. But he's still been your most effective. He's not Joel of the past defensively, but he is the one at least most capable of anchoring a defense of the options that you have. So it's going to be the Sixers still do have some pretty good, positional size, ability to cover ground with Kelly, with Barlow, with VJ. Like, they have a chance, but they've got to be way more principled, way more disciplined than they have been in those 2 games before the All-Star break. So you got to get off on a good foot. Like we mentioned it in the last one, like against the Knicks, you had to end the first half on a strong foot. Whoops, that didn't happen. You got to start off here and get that firmly in the rearview mirror. And
the Hawks have lost 3 games in a row, where the Sixers have lost 2 in a row. Sixers are 30-24. Atlanta 26-30. But they're only 2.5 games back of the Orlando Magic. 3.5 games back of the Orlando Magic for the 7th seed in the play-in. So we like the basketball team. They got Trae Young out of there. They are a pretty good basketball team. You want to make sure that you beat this squad and don't let them have any tiebreakers should it come to a 6-7 or 5-6 sort of positioning against this team when things wind down. No. You got to make sure that you win some of these games.
And look, you've got, I think like a 4-game lead on the Hawks right now. What is
5.
it? 5-game lead. That's a good sizable bump, but like anyone from 7 through 10, like these are must-win games because you really you do not want to fall into that play-in. So you've got to firm up that 6th seed.
Handle your business, and we're going to handle our business with Bet365 pregame picks presented by Bet365. Whatever the moments, never ordinary at Bet365. Let's see how we do coming out of the break here with our picks. Bree said, not today. Not today. It's just on me, everybody. And I'm going with Tyrese Maxey finding his shooting touch despite the fact that he did not shoot well in the 3-point shootout. He didn't shoot all that poorly in the All-Star game when he got some outside shots. Yep. So if he comes back, he feels a little fresh. He gets some early ones to fall for him. He finds ways to get open even against some of these lengthy defenders, and he gets off his shot pretty quickly. I have him for 4 threes tonight. Jalen Johnson is a rebounding, triple-double flirting machine. 10.5 rebounds is an over. I went with that. That's a plus 240, everybody. If you feel good about it, Bet365, have at it right there. Remember, new customers, you deposit $10, place a bet for $5. You're in for $200 in bonus bets at Bet365, win or lose. Make sure you go to Bet365. All right, super chat. Davon, a.k.a. Schoolboy Beat says, I have you guys' notifications on and all, and it never notifies me of the show, but I'll get them for the other lives. I'm always late. What's up, fellas? Go Sixers.
I apologize, Schoolboy.
It's not on us.
I can't control YouTube though. I wish I had more control over YouTube. Trust me.
Just
Unfortunately,
remember,
we don't.
30 minutes before every game tip time. We're here 30 minutes before.
We are pretty consistent.
And 10 minutes after the game goes final.
Also,
we're always with you.
We post our schedule every week on Twitter. So PHLY_Sixers on Twitter. I will never say X. It will always be Twitter.
It's always Twitter.
You know what I mean. And so we post a schedule every week there. Start of the week.
Absolutely. All right, finally, before we say goodnight and get ready for the game, Bree, we want to throw this at you now because we want to talk about it post-game with you if we have some time. Did anybody go to the high school Catholic League
Also,
semifinals last night.
I want to set the stage a little bit. What was there? Maybe like 30 seconds left, 20 seconds left, somewhere around there. And they were down 3 points.
All right, so we have the video, and we want to run this video. It was Newman Goretti and Bonner.
Yep.
All right, so Bonner's down 3. They make a comeback. They were leading the entire game, by the way, but Newman Goretti comes back, all of that. This was amazing. They get a steal, does Bonner. Their best player, their MVP, finds the ball in his hand. Corey, he's fantastic. He's a really good player as a junior. He's going to be a tremendous college player as well. So he gets the ball, he drives, and as he's driving, he gives a little bit of a euro. The Newman Goretti player jumps in front of him. And as he does, the official calls charge, and it's going the other way. We're all standing up in the palestra like, no! What was that call? One, because...
And then you watch it on replay, and it's so much worse.
It's really bad because while I give the kid credit from Newman Goretti for beating him to the spot, but he was moving.
He was 100% moving.
He was totally moving the entire time. You can't backpedal into a charge, especially when the guy is euroing away from you, right? So we want to know from all of you, is it a block or is it a charge? Let us know. We will all reconvene after the game here on the post-game show. We raise our hands right now and say, bad call on the officials. Tough spot. Bad call. It's the MVP, too. You got to give the MVP a call, too.
It was a game-tying drive.
You just no-call it.
Yes.
No call. He makes the layup. They're down 1. That's what do you do? What do you do? All right, everybody, what happened? Newman Goretti, Bonner, charge, block. Which one was it? Let us know after the game. Or, as Tom says, probably a no call. And just let the layup happen. You're down 1 with whatever many seconds are remaining on the clock. All right, we'll come back. Everybody, 10 minutes after the game, Sixers-Hawks. This is a big one. Sixers down 2-0 in the season series. They have 4 games. They need this one against the Hawks. I think, Derek thinks, snap the 2-game skid. What happens? We'll discuss it all when we get back. For Derek, Kyle, and Bree, I'm Devon. We'll see you after the game right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame.
All silly like the mayor.